I don't have regrets of jumping because I've never been so supported in my life before. I don't regret jumping, but I regret how I made people feel.
Hey there, my name is Sean, and this is Suicide Noted. On this podcast, I talk with suicide attempt survivors so that we can hear their stories. Every year around the world, millions of people try to take their own lives, and we almost never talk about it. And when we do talk about it, many of us, including me, we're not very good at it. So one of my goals with this podcast is to have more conversations and hopefully better conversations with attempt survivors. Now, we are talking about suicide. This may not be a good fit for everyone. Please take that into account before you listen. But I do hope you listen because there is so much to learn. If you are a suicide attempt survivor and you'd like to share your story, I'd love to talk. You can reach out, hello@suicidenoted.com, or find us and message us on social media at Suicide Noted. I want to thank everyone, as always, for all of your support and listening to these attempt survivors since we started in July of 2020. Keep doing what you're doing. Let people know about this podcast. And you've heard me say this before, if you listen on Apple, leave us a rating or a review. It really does help. And I want to take a few moments to thank everybody who has left a review for us thus far. In July of 2020, Jaded Optimist and Growing with the Garden. In August, This Nickname Not Taken 7 and Green Dianthus. In October, Gordon Cassetti and someone who is calling themselves XUTJGXKH, very creative. In December, End of the World as We Know It. In January, Nate in Idaho. In February, quote, review of this podcast. In March, Tattooed Elf and someone with the name of BWBSBA. And finally, this week, somebody who has a username that I cannot pronounce. There's a bunch of I's and K's and it's very long, but it doesn't matter. Thank you all very much for taking the time to leave a review. I appreciate it. Today, I am talking with Samira. Samira lives in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and she is a suicide attempt survivor. Hi, Samira. So, I got your email,
Yes.
right? And you shared some stuff with me about what you went through. Yeah?
Yes.
You went through a lot.
Yes.
That's a hell of a story.
Yes.
Yeah. So the people who hear this, they didn't read the email. So I'm going to go back and if you're comfortable sharing about that.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And if I ask you a question and you don't like it, then you don't have to answer it.
Okay.
That's good. You're in Ottawa?
Yes, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And Samira's in a bed.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe this is a weird way to frame this question. Why are you in a bed?
I'm in bed because I had reconstructive surgery on my bed sore. So I'm only allowed up 2 hours at a time, 2 times a day. So I'm in bed for the rest of the day. So yeah.
And you shared with me that in the email that you attempted to take your life. When was that? Early 2020? Is that right?
Yeah. January 27th, 2020. Yes.
Which was the day before Kobe or the day after Kobe?
The day after. Yeah.
The day after Kobe. You want to share how you tried?
Sure. So I jumped from a 10-story balcony onto the first floor rooftop. So I jumped a total of 9 stories.
This is a tough question. It's a question that people aren't supposed to ask, but I'm not supposed to have this podcast either, I guess, and I do. Why'd you jump?
Well, I have no memory of the day I jumped.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend actually got in contact with my other friend, the friend I texted before I jumped. And then I said, it sounds really stupid now, but I said, because I go to the General Hospital, Ottawa campus, General Hospital. So I go there for psychiatric treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to be followed by security because I threatened to kill a psychiatrist while I was psychotic because that's part of my other illness. Long story. Anyways, go in contact with security, and the security was treating me very poorly that day. So it was a very impulsive thing. And I said, I feel like jumping because the way the security treated me. And then I just jumped, and it was a very impulsive thing. It wasn't planned at all. The day before, I was totally fine. It must have been something that happened on the day of.
But you don't remember?
No, I don't remember at all.
Had you tried before then?
Yes, I've tried 3 or 4 times before that. My second most serious attempt was when I swallowed 50 mood stabilizers and I gave myself a couple of seizures. And then I remember one time I took all my pills that I had available to me and became unconscious for like a couple minutes, and I ended up peeing myself. And the nurse woke me up and she's like, "You peed yourself." I'm like, "Oh, thank you. Wonderful."
How old were you on your first one?
I was around 19, yeah.
And how old are you now?
I'm 22, turning 23.
It's been a rough few years.
Yes, it has.
Right?
Yes.
Wow. You know, I always ask this question. It's a tricky one. Like, it sounds like you are dealing with some mental health stuff, right?
Yes, I have a borderline personality disorder, and I have schizoaffective disorder, which is a blend between schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. But borderline personality disorder is what made me jump, because a part of the illness is reoccurrent suicidal ideation and gestures and plans and whatever, and impulsivity. So mix those two together, you don't have it's not a very good outlook.
Right. So so borderline and schizoaffective.
Yes.
And when were those diagnosed? How long have you known that you've had that and you're trying to treat that?
When I was 19, I was diagnosed with bipolar 1 and borderline personality disorder. And then when I was 20, it changed to schizoaffective disorder. So yeah, but I still had the borderline. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're growing up, you're in Ottawa, Canada, right?
Yes.
When you're growing up, like, was your life, I don't know what the word normal means, but was it sort of normal-ish?
No, not at all. Well, my story begins about 2 years before I was born. In 1996, my father burned my mother alive, and she's still alive, but she has third-degree burns on about 30% of her body. And she gained that alcoholism from that experience, and she became an alcoholic. And she mistreated us as children in our teenage years and in our adulthood. And that's what made me become borderline.
She was abusive.
Yes, she was.
And was your dad in the picture?
Oh, I've never met my father. No.
So he burned your mom really badly, but she was still able to have children.
Yeah, she had me. I was her last child. Yeah.
Wow. And was that all that in Canada?
No, it was in Yemen, in the Middle East.
You're from Yemen, your family?
My family's from Somalia, but we were born in Yemen, my sisters and I.
I was going to guess Somalia, Ethiopia, or Eritrea. There's a look that you have that's sort of a unique look. Yeah. Somalia, but born in Yemen.
Yeah.
And then you came to Ottawa, Canada.
Yes.
How old were you?
2.
2.
So Canada's all I know.
Yeah. I don't know that much about Ottawa, but I've been to Toronto and you don't care about my. All right. So you have a rough childhood, it sounds like.
Yes.
It sounds like 18, 19, 20, 21 has been like figuring out what stuff's going on and getting some diagnoses, and then also battling some demons, and you tried a few times.
Yes, yes.
How many people know about all this stuff?
My family, my close friends, and the doctors, and people on Facebook. I made a video on Facebook. And I put it on public so people can see it. And I got about 3,000 views. So
someone's listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what about like, so this most recent early 2020, you jumped. Now I know you're in bed today because you're dealing with some bed sores, but did you also write in your email that you can't walk on your own now, right?
I can't walk at all. I can't stand. I can't walk. It's a part of the spinal cord injury. Yeah.
And is that permanent?
It's permanent, yes.
Okay. And your arms?
One arm is paralyzed from the stroke, but I'm gaining function. See, the left arm,
Yeah. The right arm is okay.
the right arm's fine.
Samira, so what is it like to, well, I'm going to just ask, what's it like to not be able to walk?
When I woke up from my medically induced coma, I thought I would get up and walk like out of the hospital, no problem. Because I saw people like who are bedridden and just walk with help of rehab and stuff like that. So I thought that's what I was gonna be like. But then but then a rehab doctor came in about March. I spent 6 months in the hospital. He came in about March and he said, "You'll be dependent on a wheelchair for the rest of your life." And I was just like, "What?" What? And I started bawling I cried straight for 2 days. The nurses had no clue what to do with me. Nobody knew what to do with me. And the trauma surgeon came to visit me and he was just like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And then no one knew how to, yeah, that's what happened.
So you're probably not going to be able to walk.
Yes. Yes.
So how do you feel about that?
I've made peace with it. Like I struggled with it in the beginning. I'm like, wow, I'm going to be, because I wear a diaper. TMI. I wear a diaper because I can't walk to the washroom, right? So I was thinking to myself, I'm going to be in this diaper for the rest of my life. And I'm only 21 when I got injured. So I was like, oh. And then I started to like, whatever. But other than that, I made peace with it. And I'm not fine with it. I want to walk, but it's not physically capable. I'm not physically capable of it.
Right. Well, because I would imagine that when you were like a little girl or maybe even a teenager, most people have like ideas of what their life is going to be like.
Yeah.
I mean, usually it doesn't work out exactly that way, but this is a little bit different.
Yeah.
That's got to be like, yeah. Because definitely, I mean, in your situation, there's some things that you can't do. I'm not saying anything you haven't already thought about, probably a lot, but with respect to working or family, children, like there's limits.
Yes, yes, there is limits.
So when you say you make peace with it, that's a big thing to make peace with.
Yes.
That's not a small thing.
Yeah.
Not the same as me making peace with being bald, right? That's small stuff.
Yes.
You're just talking about big. So what is your mom or your sibling? How many siblings do you have?
I have 4 siblings.
Wow.
5 children in total.
Right. And you were you're the youngest.
Yes.
So what do your siblings and your mom say about, I don't know, any of this? Like, how do they respond?
My mom, she's like, I'll pray for you. One day you can walk. I know you can. And she thinks I'm literally going to get up and walk someday. That's what she thinks. But I told her, no, it doesn't work like that, mother. But she's praying for me. But me, I'm an atheist. So I don't really, I get prayers. I respect people who pray and have faith and believe, but I don't. So I don't really see the point of it all. And I just told my mom, okay. And then my siblings they were very sad for me at the beginning, but I think they made peace with it also. Maybe not all my siblings, but my sister next to me, she made peace with it and she knows my limitations.
How often do they visit you?
Oh, my sister's with me right now.
Oh, hi, sister.
Hi.
What's your sister's name?
Paduma.
Paduma?
Yeah. My brother, he was in prison when I told him, and I told him 3 months after the fact that I jumped. And then he broke down and he's like, wasn't your mother in the house? What was she doing? Why didn't she save you? I'm like, it wasn't her place to save me. I was unsavable at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just told him that it's not anyone's fault. It's not my fault because I was sick in the mind, you know? So it's not no one's fault. It's through no fault of anyone's.
No fault, no blame, but you are where you are.
Yeah.
And you don't believe in God. Atheist.
No.
I would think that it would be, maybe I'm wrong here, maybe a little bit easier had you believed in God. I would think being an atheist is really hard in this situation.
Yes. My friend who's very close to me, the one I texted last before I jumped, she's very Christian. And she told me, are you still an atheist? I'm like, yes, I'm still an atheist.
What did you text her? Do you remember?
No, but my other friend read it to me and it said I was triggered by the security guard and I feel like I'm gonna jump.
And
That's
then,
what I said.
so yeah, that's so, but your mind blanks from the memory, but you jumped. Right.
Yeah.
Hmm. And you're in and so where you are right now, is that a long-term facility or are you going to
Yeah,
be,
long-term care home, yeah.
so are you going to leave at some point? Or
Believe in what?
do you need to stay there indefinitely or do you get to go home at some point?
No, I don't get to go home. This is my home.
Is it nice?
Yeah, it's one of the better long-term care homes in Ottawa. Yeah. They have really good food. I ate fried chicken today.
You had fried chicken today? All right, you're not a vegan. You might be an atheist, but you ain't a vegan. How do the other patients treat you that are there? Because you're all in some ways kind of in the same not the same situation, but long-term care, right?
Yeah, I'm the youngest in the whole building. There's 3 buildings to this long-term care home. I'm the youngest, and it's it's kind of isolating to be the youngest in anywhere,
Yeah.
but I like the people around me, and they're very supportive of me, and they I can talk to them whenever.
Yeah.
Yes.
What kind of stuff do you do or are you able to do like day to day? What do they provide or what do you do?
Oh, what do I do? I don't do anything for myself except because I'm left-handed, but the hemiparesis is my left arm, so I
Mm.
can't use that arm. But I'm regaining strength and coordinates in my right arm, so I had to relearn how to eat and drink and everything. So
Mhm.
I'm still learning. I can manage with a spoon by myself, but with a fork is a different story. So they shower me, they dress me, they sometimes feed me, but I can feed myself most of the time. But
Fried chicken.
yes, fried chicken.
Why did you? I don't know how we found each other. I don't know if it was through the Facebook group or maybe Sherry,
Yes,
right?
Sherry. Yes.
I think most people in your situation would not want to talk about it. I
Yeah.
don't know for sure. I just think most people would be like, nah, I don't think so. But
Mm.
you're not like them. And I'm wondering, like, why do you think that is? What compelled you to want to share more with whoever hears this?
Well, to me, my story is like a tale of caution. So I want people to know about my story because I went to the hospital for more than 2 dozen times in a span of 2 years, like mostly for suicidal ideation, and they did nothing to help me. I was like, okay, and then look how I turned out. So I just want people to know and understand that I don't want them to turn out like I did.
Whew. That whole conversation about mental health care. And I was
Yeah.
going to say in the United States, but it's probably not just the United States.
Mm-hmm.
It also issues in Canada and probably
Yeah.
most places. So when you
Mm-hmm.
say they didn't help you
Mm-hmm.
and you went many times, what did they do or what didn't they do that you might have needed? Do you know?
They never hospitalized me once for being suicidal. So, except one time when I took the overdose on the mood stabilizers, they just took care of my physical health. And as soon as the mood stabilizers passed through my system, they're just like, okay, you're good to go home now. Go home with your family so you don't try to kill yourself again. Like,
Right. The first time I understand that,
mm-hmm.
but not the second and the third and the fourth, and then on and on.
Yeah.
But they kept doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So if somebody's hearing this, like it's tricky because they can't control what hospital they go to or how they're treated, right?
Yes.
So what do they do? And I don't know if you have an answer. It's just more of a conversation. Like, what the heck should they do?
I don't have an answer for that, but I have an answer for what like a healthcare professional should do in those circumstances. I think
Yeah,
healthcare professionals should look at the emotion the person is expressing behind their symptoms and respect that. You know what I mean?
I do. The cynic in me doesn't believe that's going to happen,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's like telling people like you should listen.
Mhm.
Like we hear it all the time, but we don't really do a very good job of it.
Yeah,
And so it upsets me.
it is. It is upsetting.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I would have thought Canada's system was any different than ours. People here, we think really good things of Canada. We think you guys are like a better version of the United States. So I was hoping to hear that maybe in some cases the mental health system is a little bit more progressive or empathetic or something, but I don't know if that's the case. And you're in Ottawa, which is the capital, right?
Yes, capital.
You like it there?
Yeah, it's nice. I like
You a big Senators fan?
it. Not really.
What's the
I'm
football
not a
team?
hockey fan.
Rough Riders?
Oh, is
Isn't
it
that
the
the?
football team?
I think that's the CFL team, right?
No, it's the Red Blacks now.
Okay, are you a fan of theirs?
I'm not a fan of sports.
Nothing. I don't know if it's what did or do you like. Like, what's fun?
I love music, like
Mhm.
listening to music, not playing music. I can't
Mhm.
play the music for the life of me, but
Yeah.
listening to music, I'm a person who feels deeply. So
Mhm.
from when I turn on music, it's just me and music, and it's like I don't know, it's just
Yeah.
another type of feeling.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite either genres or bands or musicians? Top five.
Oh, I like guitarists, so
Uh-huh.
probably Jimi Hendrix, John Mayer, Buddy Guy, probably. But I also like the Rolling Stones. They're my favorite band. Yeah.
Really? All right. So
Yeah.
we're going back sometimes. We're going back a few decades.
Yes, yes. I love the Rolling Stones.
Real the Stones. Okay. What about the Stones do you like?
I actually like Keith Richards.
He's also real. Well, they're all old. It doesn't matter, but they're good, right? They're
Yes. But he's like a blues artist at his core, so I like him the best. Yeah.
all right. Do you know this is really irrelevant? I don't know why I'm circling back to this. I've taught English as a second language in a few different countries,
Yes.
and I actually spent an academic year in Saudi Arabia,
Okay.
and I ended up meeting a number of, I guess you'd say, Yemenis. I don't know if
Yemeni.
that's how
Yeah.
you use
Yes.
Yemeni. And there's no story there, Samira. I just wanted to share that. I wasn't that far from the country where you were born.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I ended up spending a little time in Tanzania too, which these are not close places to Somalia, but it's weird how people's paths cross and who knows how, right?
Yes.
So you like music, you've made some peace with your situation.
Yes.
You were treated for your mental health stuff before this, right? With
Yes.
medication, I assume?
With antipsychotics, mood stabilizers, antidepressants. Yeah.
Are you still on those?
Yes, I am.
You still take them. So the fact
Yeah.
that so that doesn't change that whole part of it.
No.
You're still dealing with that stuff.
Yes.
Man, where do you find the strength, Samira? This
I
is
don't.
not what most human beings have to deal with.
I use humor a lot,
Yeah.
which gives me strength. I laugh at myself all the time. I laugh at the fact that I'm in a diaper. I laugh at the fact that I can't walk, can't turn off my own lights. Like I just laugh at that. Like it's dark humor. It's not for everyone.
Sure. Well, you're into the blues.
Yes.
I mean, it's that I'm getting a vibe here. Dark humor, the blues. I never know exactly how people respond or when they hear it. Occasionally someone will reach out, right? And I'm like, hey, I like your podcast, or whatever. But I have no doubt that people hear this. It is not just what you shared about, hey, cautionary tale, but I mean,
Mhm.
just the fact that I'm guessing you don't want pity.
No, no,
But it is astounding. You know, I'm sure you have your bad days, and I'm
I do. I do.
right, right. I don't expect, right. I don't think you're laughing all day, every day.
No.
But it's amazing to hear it and even like see it a little bit. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe you're faking the smile, but it seems sincere.
No, I'm not faking it. No, my sister was like, "How do you laugh? If I was in your situation, I wouldn't laugh for 5 years."
You would think that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could I
If you want
share
to,
like the list of my injuries
yeah,
and illnesses that I sustained through the jump? Because I shared with you, but I'm not sure
yeah. I want
that.
you to share that, and then I also like feel free to share anything you want, but of course, share it, please. Yeah.
Okay, so when I first arrived in hospital, I went through hypovolemic shock, which in my case was shock from severe blood loss. Is when you lose 20% of your blood or more, like through internal bleeding.
Yeah.
And then I went into cardiac arrest for 12 minutes. And then I had respiratory failure with hypoxemia, which is respiratory failure with lack of oxygen to your lungs. And I had hemothorax, which is a bleeding lung. And then I had a hemorrhagic stroke, which is a stroke from bleeding out.
Wow.
So, and then I had a traumatic brain injury, which landed me in the medically induced coma. It's called a diffuse axonal injury. It's basically when your brain accelerates and decelerates in a fast motion. So that's what happened when I jumped. My brain went shook, and then
Yep.
So, and then I severely fractured my pelvis. I shattered my heel bones and broke my elbows and my ribs.
You don't know how you landed, right?
I'm suspecting I landed on my feet because I shattered my heel bones.
How did they find you,
and a
Sarah?
spinal cord injury, which is the most
Right, which is the reason why you're not able to walk.
Yes.
Right.
T12 injury, yeah. Thoracic spine, 12th vertebrae is where I lose partial sensation and movement. Yeah.
So you don't feel it. You don't feel anything.
Partial.
Partial.
I can feel it. But I feel like half a touch. I don't feel a full touch.
Who found you?
I jumped, right? And the people on the floor saw me jump.
Right.
On the ground saw me jump, and they called 911. And my mom came out and saw my body like on the rooftop of the first floor. She's like, she started freaking out. They made us gesture like they called like a phone, and they called 911, and they said for her to come down, and she came down without shoes, without a headscarf, without everything. Like she was just in complete shock. She was screaming. My sister never heard her scream like that before.
Yeah. And how did the sister who's in the room with you, how did she respond?
She was in shock. She didn't believe it because her partner was like, if someone fell from the 10th floor, expect them to be dead.
I would think so, right?
And my sister was like, she was just in shock. How'd you feel? I don't know. My sister's right here.
I didn't believe it. I was completely
she didn't believe it. Yeah.
She didn't believe it.
I live in Toronto. In Toronto at the moment when that happened, when my other sister called, and I didn't believe it, but I packed my things and I took the train down.
How far was that?
4 hours.
4 hours.
So that must be a really weird, long, difficult train ride.
Yes, it was. But I was in denial the whole time, actually. I said, no, she didn't. No, she didn't.
When did you believe it?
When I saw her body. All hooked up in all machines. All these machines, like this chest tube, probably a ventilator, all these machines. And I was in the ICU for 3 weeks. Yeah.
And this is over a year. This is more than a year. And I'm calling you sister. Sister comes often.
Yeah, she does.
That's cool. Did you move there to Ottawa?
No, I still live in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It sounds like your family's gone through a lot because you had mentioned that your brother was in jail for a while.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like you guys all of you have been through a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my mom, she has PTSD from what my dad did to her.
Sure.
And then she like relives every day. She has nightmares of me jumping, and she relives it every day. And she tells me I can't close my eyes because every time I close my eyes, I see your body falling. So I compounded her PTSD pretty severely. So yeah, I don't have regrets of jumping because I've never been so supported in my life before, because I have a physical therapist, I have like occupational therapist, I have like 3 doctors, more than that, like a plastic surgeon or neurosurgeon, orthopedic surgeon. Like I've never been so supported in my life. So I don't regret jumping, but I regret how I made people feel.
Right. And where are your other siblings? So I know sisters here.
Yes, and my 2 sisters are in Edmonton, and my brother is in Quebec.
Did the family and the siblings just be like, we want to live as far away from each other as we can? I mean, you're all over the place. Like, there's no one in Vancouver. Why? Like, you wonder why, or like Nova Scotia. What's going on?
No, it's just that my mom's drinking impacted us very severely, and we couldn't live with her anymore. Like to the point she would start fires in our room. Wow. She would pour bleach on us. She would do the worst things to us, and we couldn't get any sleep. And when I became manic the first time, because I have schizoaffective disorder, right? When I became manic the first time, I couldn't sleep, and I was like, I need to sleep. And then I resorted to threatening the doctor because I couldn't sleep, because that's what my mom used to do to us. She deprived us of sleep. So then I was just like, oh my God, I'm not sleeping. I need to sleep. And it's so embarrassing. Don't ever do this. I Facebook messaged my doctor, my psychiatrist, and I was like, I can't sleep. Help me sleep. What'd you give me? You give me these nasty drugs and now I can't sleep. Because they gave me antidepressants, and anyone with a tendency towards bipolar, you don't give antidepressants to because that makes them manic, right? So then I was just thinking in my head, OMG, I can't sleep. And I ended up going in the hospital like at least like three or four times for that manic episode. And I was hospitalized twice for that episode. Yeah.
I'm really glad that you told me not to do that, to FaceTime my doctor, because I was very close to doing it. So thank you for that piece of advice. With your conditions, did you have delusions?
Yes, I do. I do have delusions.
So you're dealing with everything. You're dealing with mania, ups and downs.
Yes.
Delusions.
Hallucinations. What else? Disorganized thinking, disorganized speech.
An abusive mom.
Yes.
Lack of sleep.
Yes.
If I'm understanding the scenario, by the time you're like 18 or 19, you're probably living alone at home with your mother, and the siblings are gone.
Yes.
For better or worse, I don't know, but like that changes the dynamic, I'd imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, you got to wonder how you're even alive. It's astounding.
Yes.
Like, so do you think, I know you're an atheist, you think it's all sort of random, or there's some reason that you're still here?
I don't believe in God, but I believe that there is a reason I'm still here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's to share my story to help better the mental health system in some way. I don't know.
That could be it.
Yeah.
Does your sister have any thoughts on why Samira is still here?
Sister speak. Is it my turn?
We could have a whole separate podcast with just you, sister.
I think, honestly, the way she shares her story and brings strength to other people when they hear could be the reason. Like, people here don't even pity her. They're in awe, first of all. And then the way she has self-awareness and perspective of what she's going through and her surroundings, and she's able to articulate that in such great words, is beautiful. And I think that's what you're, blessing this world with. Yeah. Yeah.
Turn the camera.
No, I don't want to be on camera.
No,
you want to say hi?
Oh. You know what, Sean? I will. Can you see me?
Yep, you got your mask on because
I know
COVID,
I have
right?
I have to wear this and the goggles, the mask.
Why the goggles?
COVID goes through your eyes. Contact it through your eyes. That's what.
In Canada, maybe. Samira.
Yes.
Another maybe weird question. I ask everybody this question, by the way.
Yes.
Do you think you're going to try again?
I'm too disabled to.
That's a very honest answer. That's an honest answer. Yeah.
I can't even open a bottle of pills to swallow. I can't, nothing. Walk over to a bridge, nothing.
Right. It's limiting. When you've posted stuff on social media, especially social media, it sounds like mostly it was positive.
Yes.
Do you ever get people saying the really stupid stuff? The stuff that you're like, you got to be kidding me, you jerk.
Yes. Actually, I have two stories to share with you. One is when I was in the neurosurgery floor getting my surgery. I was recently, and I told this PSW, like personal support worker at the hospital, that I jumped, and she was like, so it's your fault. And I looked at her like, what the hell is your problem? But I said nothing to her. I was just like, okay, bye. Like, I'm not good at speaking up in the moment, so I just let her go.
People say the darndest thing, man.
And then there was this one lady, because I when I was in the hospital for 6 months, I had a spine brace, right? Like a plastic spine brace. She was like, what kind of accident were you in? I said, attempted suicide. And she just shut up the whole entire ultrasound. She just said no word to me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, this is awkward.
People freak out, Samira. They do weird stuff when you mention that word. Some people don't even say the word. They'll say like the S word. Or they'll say nothing. They can't even say it.
Yes, exactly.
For everybody else in the world who might have somebody in their life who's struggling, whether it's the degree to which you were struggling or just not even like, we don't have to measure or compare. Because you said a cautionary tale not only to the people who are struggling, but to the mental health care. What about like my brother's in a lot of pain, for example, right? Like, what would you say to the people who are supporting people? This is also a good question for sister as well. What do they need to know? And again, they might have full use of their limbs, but we're just talking about people in pain, right?
Yeah, any kind of pain, yes.
Any kind of physical, non-physical, all of the above.
Who are supporting them, right?
Yeah, or trying to, yeah.
I say recognize the emotion behind the symptom or behind the because I overreact. I'm the queen of overreactions, as you can tell.
You don't seem like you're overreacting. Isn't that also, that might just be who Samira is, but isn't that also a borderline thing as well?
Yes, it is. But I say recognize the emotion behind the action someone's putting out. So if you recognize the emotion, you can deal more sympathetically with the person. Yeah.
There is a presumption, though, that people can recognize emotion.
Yes, I know.
Now, between you and me and sister, people can't typically recognize emotion. Do you know why that is?
I feel sadness is turned into anger when someone does not know how to cope with sadness, because sadness is a harder emotion to deal with.
Yeah.
But it's turned into anger, and people don't respond well to anger. So
story of my life, Samira. You know what's also interesting? I don't think I don't know the school system up in Ottawa. I think it's important that we learn math and literacy and history, and science. Well, we don't learn about it, not here. So it's like, of course we don't know how to recognize it. We don't learn it.
Exactly. Yes.
We don't spend any time doing it. I don't know what to do with that, but what's the word? Can we make up a word? If you can't read, we call you illiterate, right?
Yes.
If you can't do math, there's actually a word. I don't know if it's math or logic. It's called enumerate. I just learned this word. It's enumerate. It's a great word.
Yes.
Can we make up a word? I don't know if one exists, where if you can't recognize emotion, what is that called? Like, we might just create a whole new word here.
Emo ignorant.
Emo ignorant. I'm writing this down. I'll give you credit. I love that. Emo ignorant. Man, I'm going to even check if the domain's available. Emoignorant.com. It'd be a whole revolution.
So, Samira, what else?
On my low days, I think they could have stopped compressions because I went into cardiac arrest. They could have stopped compressions at the 7th minute or the 9th minute, but they went on to save my life and did compressions for 12 minutes. But every time I'm in my low mood, I think, oh my God, I could have just died and had known peace, but I didn't die,
Because of that.
Yeah.
Well, Samira, you are awesome, and I thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad we had a chance to talk and that you were so open and honest. And of course, to sister.
Oh, I'm holding the iPad. I'm the tripod.
Yes. Okay. Got it. Awesome. You rock. Thanks again, Samira. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye.
Stay well. Stay well.
Bye.
Bye.
As always, thanks so much for listening, and special thanks to Samira up in Ottawa. If you are a suicide attempt survivor and you'd like to share your story, I'd love to talk. hello@suicidenoted.com or social media @suicidenoted. If you'd like to help out this podcast with a financial contribution, one time or ongoing, check out our Patreon page. That information is in the show notes. There's a few different membership tiers. We would so appreciate your support. That's all for episode number 47. Stay strong. Do the very best you can. I'll talk to you soon.